The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Media Mash,
a roundtable of Cowboys insiders
dropping wisdom
and offering sizzling takes
on the current state of your Dallas Cowboys.
Now, your host,
Newy Scruggs.
Media Mash, let's ride. With our Cowboys insiders, Jane Slater, NFL media, John Machota of The Athletic, and you've got the longest tenured beat writer in Dallas-Fort Worth covering the team. He is Clarence Hill. So you saw Chan Gailey when he went back-to-back with playoff wins, right?
Wow.
Basically, he's saying you old.
I mean, I am old, and I was covering that team, but you forget, unless you want to say the last coach to go back-to-back, because they did it with Bill Parcells.
Right, I mean the last coach. That's
last coach. Yeah, I was here for Chan Gailey. I was here for Chan Gailey, the 8-8 team. And I was 10-6, 8-8. I remember it like it was yesterday.
So that's a lot of firings you've covered and a lot of introductory press conferences.
Listen, y'all don't understand.
No, we understand.
No. It was a coup they got rid of Chan Gailey.
Yes, it was Detroit.
Okay, let's not, you think it was some drama around.
I'm not doing it.
It was a coup with I ain't going to say no names, but, the Clapper had some blood on his hands, too.
You just said some
Jesse
names.
Hawley.
I said
Jesse Hawley stands on the hill and talks about that different playbook.
It was.
The Clapper has blood on his hands, too.
Yeah. So,
as well as number 8.
So it's beat writers. What was the best introductory press conference of a Cowboy coach that you covered?
Ooh.
I was only at one, so I don't really have much to add.
Okay.
I thought Mike's was pretty damn entertaining.
I like Wade's.
Said,
I like my boots are back in Texas. Surprise!
No.
You weren't here.
When he said
my boots are back in Texas.
I've heard that.
I'm sorry, you had to wait.
When he said he lied about watching all the film, you got to do what you got to do to get the job. That was one of my favorite moments.
I understand that, but Bill Parcells was great, of course.
Yeah.
I barely remember that. I was a brand new rookie reporter in Tyler, Texas.
Bill Parcells was great. Not Chan, but
Wade Phillips.
Wade Phillips was great just because it was, surprise.
He was just so sweet.
Surprise! My boots are back in Texas.
Surprise, surprise.
The favorite one I covered was Switzer. We got a job to do. We're going to do it, baby. And he was out there just rawing it and bringing that Oklahoma flavor. And I just thought, this is entertaining. It's entertaining.
Are you foreshadowing that we're going to be covering another
No, Michael.
Introductory press conference?
No,
I don't. Where are we going here?
You know what? Chris Canny had put out a couple weeks ago on ESPN that he said that they get beat in the first round, Mike McCarthy's gone. I was like, no.
They haven't lost back-to-back games this year, and look at all the injuries. I mean, we're focusing on the offensive injuries. I mean, when you start looking at this defense that lost the 2 starting corners, now LVE, Micah Parsons, who I think we all think is going to play on Saturday despite his illness. It's just, but he's going to have to probably move roles from being exclusively there helping at the line of scrimmage. Those injuries are beginning to start piling up for them. We've been talking about this corner position, which I'm sure we'll get into, but to do what Mike's been able to do this year and keep this group focused, and I think that the word that he constantly uses, it feels cliche, but they have been very resilient. I think more so than most teams would have been in some of these situations. I mean, literally, of their starters, who hasn't gotten hurt yet? And I don't want to say names and jinx the team, but it's pretty wild.
Zach Martin.
You want to go there, man?
I'm sorry. Did I jinx?
Keep going. Name some other people there.
Yeah, just keep naming some names, buddy.
No, listen. I hear you. We're going to give him credit for what they've done. But we know from the beginning of the season, this season was going to be judged by the postseason. What happened between September, December, January, it didn't matter unless they didn't make the playoffs. But once they got, this team was going to be judged by what they do in the postseason. Canty's right. If they go and lay an egg in the first round, there's no guarantees Mike's back.
Then who's the hotter girl that you're going to bring in here and make the head coach?
Well,
if you're going to
the sad part is
Susie Homemaker, who you bringing in?
The sad part is,
don't say his name.
The hot
you
money
say it 3 times, he'll show up.
The hot money was on Dan Quinn. I wasn't even talking about your guy.
Your guy.
They still got to trade first round picks for him. I'm talking about Dan Quinn was the house of money.
Surprise, I'm here.
How do you compare that to the girlfriend thing?
What does he say?
Play that drop again.
Surprise, I'm here.
It won't be Wade Phillips.
How do you compare that to her girlfriend analogy?
I missed it. I mean, the hottest girl. Which one's the girlfriend? Who's the hot one?
Well, what if in that scenario you just said the other girlfriend would be living in the same house? If you said it's Dan Quinn.
It's polyamorous.
Well, I mean, I don't know nothing about polyamorous. I don't deal with those things. What does that mean? That mean more than one?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I'm a one-man woman, faithful man woman.
He's a one-man woman. That's what he just said.
One woman man, excuse me.
One man.
My whole thing is, but to take it back to where the conversation was, I just think Mike's done a good job.
That's why I was lying, right?
I think Mike's done a good job of sort of endearing himself to this locker room.
They love Jason too.
Yes, but I think given some of the adversity that they've had, I think you've got to give this guy credit. Double-digit wins in back-to-back seasons.
All of
Mike
these
McCarthy. Injuries. The way that he is sort of able to navigate what is the Cowboys show that is so different than anywhere else when you go and cover other teams. I mean, everything about – I even had Bridget Condon here covering the game on Sunday for Jacksonville. She gets to go to all these – different facilities, and so an outsider coming in, as we've seen with a lot of these free agents, it's just so different here. And that's why I've long said Sean Payton, like Bill Parcells, would never work here.
Well, Bill Parcells did work here.
He
didn't
work long enough, and he was happy to leave.
He worked as long as he was ever going to work.
Okay, do you think that Sean Payton doesn't even talk injuries? When I covered him in New Orleans, you think he'd be cool with us talking about the right tackle Tyron Smith on Wednesday?
Okay. See,
Jerry Jones saying that on the radio.
The question was, would he work here? Not would he be agreeable and would he, be fun to work with. No. He would not be fun to work with. But Bill Parcells worked here. He worked here before. He rebuilt this team. He set them on the right path. He did his job.
Wrote a book where he said he wouldn't work for a guy like Jerry Jones.
Yes, he did.
And
so
Sean is literally a Bill disciple.
So he would work here and Jerry would make it work if that's what he wanted to do. I'm not saying he would be agreeable to some of the things that's going on.
Perfect
that's two different things.
Remember when Mike first got here, Jerry sort of held things back. He didn't give as much on the radio. Remember we said, maybe Jerry's doing things a little different. He's back to Jerry just telling us everything we want to know on Tuesdays and Thursdays, which, look, as a reporter, I love it. But if you're a head coach, that's got to be tough.
Jerry took a step back with Bill Parcells.
Back to the premise here of what I said to Canty, and ultimately was everything is within context. And to just say, you lose your first game, you're done, it's all in context. Because I had Jason Garrett fired 3 different years. Mm-hmm. And he found whatever reasons he wanted to bring him back. And the other thing I said about Mike McCarthy, somebody differently, I said Mike McCarthy will be a head coach in this league, whether it's the Cowboys next year or somewhere else, if you dive and look at what type of job he's done.
If he wants to.
Yeah,
this thing might have worn him out. Where he might be like, "I'm good."
Okay,
outside of the Raiders, nothing else can be dysfunctional.
I've actually said
the difference with Jason Garrett was in the family photo. They took vacation with the family. That was a deep relationship. Okay. It's totally different.
But I'm with you, John.
He did not want to get rid of Jason Garrett at all.
I say this a lot. I think everyone assumes that Jerry would fire Mike. Maybe Mike fires himself from the job because it is a lot that comes. I mean, he even joked with us this year. Put on the stress weight. He's got to work on his drama because he doesn't really fit in around here.
He loves it here.
Yeah, he likes it here.
His wife loves it here.
I think
his family loves it here.
I think he likes it here.
But if he has to, program? Remember he was doing the boxing.
That was working out, but he loves it here.
Agreed. But I think if we're beating the drum again about a job loss the way that we all were last offseason, and Jerry right, and Jerry plays this game with the Dan Quinn stuff, I think that wears on people. You start to sort of feel like, can I be as efficient and productive? If I was this efficient and productive with some of my challenges, how successful can I be somewhere else?
This comes with the job.
Am I wrong on that, John?
There's no wrong answers here. That's the point. There's no wrong answer to say that that Sean Payton would not like working in this environment. He would make it tough. That's not a wrong answer. That's a correct answer. Would he take the job? I think he would if all things were equal. If that would happen.
Oh,
But
I
just-
agree.
that's all
I
I'm
think
saying.
he
But yes,
covers it. My argument
Yeah.
has long been: will he take the job? Yes. Will it work? No.
Okay, yeah, there's two different things. That we're talking about taking a job. We're not, that's what we're talking about. And so there's no wrong answers. I mean, all of this is speculation, hypotheticals, and everything else anyway. But I'm just saying, as Chris Canty said, I give him all the credit. I like Mike. I like what he's done. I like how he tries to treat with us and work with us. And
See, that's what he likes. He doesn't care about the win.
No,
He
but
just likes that.
we
He's
understand
cool
what
with
he's
players.
accomplished and what he's done. But at the end of the day, it's
It's all about
27
you.
years since the last Super Bowl title, and if they lay an egg in the playoffs in a season when to me it's as wide open as ever been, there's no guarantees.
I mean, we're still talking about what, a 10-win team right now?
Exactly. And I was talking
Given
I was talking to somebody
all
else.
of their adversity.
I was talking to someone else today. They could be theoretically a 13-win wild card team, or 14-win wild card team if they went out. And when has there ever been a wild card team at 12, 13, 14 wins?
playing in a really tough division.
And having to play on the road.
And the key thing is here in all of this is that Jerry, much like last year, thinks this year is a very good team.
Yes.
And so when the owner and general manager thinks that the groceries are there to do it, and then you underperform, then all bets are off in the
But
offseason.
are
if
they
you come
now
up
on
short.
defense? Are they now on defense?
I'm just going to tell you
I've
this
got
right
big
now.
questions
I'm
about
just going
the
to tell you this right
secondary.
now. Jerry was real quick to bring up when we were at the owners' meetings when I asked him about T.Y. Hilton. He was real quick to bring up how look what Brock Purdy's done. So he's going to look at it and he's going to point to if it doesn't go the way that he wants, he'll point to be like, look at what the 49ers did with their third quarterback. Look at the Eagles have been very lucky to not really have anything up until this Jalen Hurts thing, but he'll find a way because Jerry believes that this is a super talented team, just like he did last year. And I agree. I do think it's a very talented team. And even with the injuries, I still think it's a very talented team.
So, speaking of the very talented team, Micah Parsons' illness today, not practicing, what do we know?
I think he'll play. I mean,
That guy already played through illness before.
I was going to say I can't think of anybody, but who this year has been on the illness side of the injury report who didn't play on Sunday?
How important has been on this? Let's keep this,
Fair enough.
I mean, seriously.
Right.
Seriously. No, but it's true.
Why is there somebody that I can't think of anybody that hasn't played because
Quentin
of
Bohanna, one of those guys may not have, but they had other options there.
Yeah.
No one who is like a must-have guy.
The one I keep going back to is, a couple of weeks ago, Leighton Vander Esch was going through the same thing.
Right.
And I'll tell you what, I think that might have been his best game he played that week.
Well, remember
coming off of that.
Micah was sick. What was it? A couple weeks ago, and he played through it.
I want to know. I really want to know why it's just defensive guys.
They're not washing their hands.
I mean, it's the whole defense. I mean, it's been through the defense too. Michael's had it twice. I mean, it's been through the defense. Just keep going through the defensive room. Everybody on defense has
Maybe
had
it's
the whole
a close
defensive
group.
line.
They're always together.
I mean,
But it is wild when they say that they've been distancing them and being careful in the meeting rooms. I mean, if these games really, really count, and you still have, which is wild, if you went out the next 3 games, you could still claim the NFC East, assuming that the Eagles were to lose their next 3, which is, I think, asking a lot.
It's asking a lot, but we don't
there's
know.
still
We don't
a
know
chance.
Jalen Hurts' health.
Right, so there's still a chance. I'd be literally having these guys wearing masks all over the building and washing their hands. I'd be literally dipping their hands in hand sanitizer everywhere they went. But it just kind of feels like they're around here.
You might want to talk to Mike about that.
And the funny thing about it is it's a bug. That bug could be flu, the bug could be COVID, but this is a different year than last year.
But no one knows what that is, so don't even start on that with me.
Well,
I'm not starting on anything
There's
with you. This is not personal with you.
There's like 3 different ones
Don't
going
start that
around.
with me. I don't know. It's like,
Don't you roll your eyes over there.
it's like, when did I make it about her?
You were
No,
looking
but
right
I
at
can't
I
think
was
of anybody
looking because I'm pointing that way. My camera's right here.
Well, look at your camera.
Of the guys that were on the injury report yesterday, Leighton Vander Esch is the only one that I would say, well, we know he's not going to play because even Jake Ferguson was on there, and we saw him out at practice today. I thought that was a good sign for a guy coming off a concussion.
Well, it's been a week. It's time.
Well,
Yeah,
Coach said
I
he's
know,
getting
but just
close,
concussions
yeah.
are tough, man. That no two are the same. Some guys.
No,
it takes
I
a
agree,
lot
but
longer,
Noah Brown came back the next week. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm Noah Brown, but Anthony Brown.
Yeah.
Came back the next week. So, but yeah, it's just I only bring that up because it's just so different how a year makes it. Because I know because I've talked to some people that a couple of guys have had COVID this year.
Yeah.
And it's not been a big deal. One reason they have problems at receivers because one guy had COVID last year and didn't get the shot. and now he's off the team, and now they're moving heaven and earth trying to find receiver help.
How's he doing?
He's 60 yards away from 1,000 yards with a backup quarterback and a quarterback.
Good. That sounds pretty
really good.
with 3 games left in the season, yeah.
But my question is, when we start talking about
Armed Forces Bowl,
when we start talking about the receivers, and I heard this last year inside the building, you've got to get the ball in your playmakers' hands. Do you think Kellen Moore has gotten a little too cute at times this year, trying to get the ball to too many different playmakers? Am I getting ahead over there? I'm sorry.
No. Let's get a break.
Okay.
Marinate on what Jane said.
Because I am just curious about that.
Let's marinate on Jane's curiosity, and we'll go around the table. We'll dive into that next, right here on the Media Mash on DallasCowboys.com radio.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
What do you call a group of grown men and women with their faces painted silver and blue who get together every week to share a 3-hour-long ritual of jumping, singing, and toasting Miller Lite in 10-gallon hats while yelling, "How about them Cowboys?" You call it Miller Time in Dallas. Here's to the Cowboys. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2021 Miller Brewing Company, Fort Worth, Texas.
When you build, you start with the foundation. And home ownership is a foundation of a stable future. The Bank of America Community Home Ownership Commitment has helped over 34,000 people lay the groundwork so far, with up to $10,000 towards your down payment or 3% of the purchase price, whichever is less. The satisfaction of owning your own place can become a reality. Visit bankofamerica.com/homeowner to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America N.A. Equal Housing Lender. Credit and collateral is subject to approval. Restrictions apply. This is not a commitment to lend.
The season is finally here. For months, we've been gearing up to win. Now it's time for the team that performs on any field. United Ag and Turf. With John Deere zero turns for mowing, compact tractors for loading, mini excavators for digging, Gator utility vehicles for hauling, implements for grading, hay tools for baling. United Ag and Turf. For winning. The official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com for more.
Back to Media Mash.
Media Mash. We are here at the world-famous star, the SWBC Podcast Studios. Jane Slater, NFL Media. John Machota of The Athletic. Clarence Hill, the Fort Worth Star-Telegram. I'm Newey Scruggs. So Jane was curious and had a question. Go ahead and rephrase it for folks who didn't hear.
My question is Kellen Moore getting too cute by trying to get the ball to too many different receivers this year? Like when I look at the last game, for instance, and I bring this up because I was looking at Michael Gallup, who you signed in the offseason. You felt good about his ACL, and talking with him, he seems fine. That was just his 5th time since the ACL injury that he had 2 or fewer receptions in the game. And then when I looked at the stat box, 5 other players saw more targets than he did. I mean, Elliott and Pollard had more out of the backfield than Michael Gallup. And so when I talked to somebody in the building last year, well, actually a few, I was told, and I would get text messages during the playoffs, look at that. They're getting the ball in the playmakers' hands. Look at that. That's why they're successful. They're getting the ball in the playmakers' hands. I look at this team and I think the ball should be in these 4 playmakers' hands at all times. Zeke, Tony Pollard, Ezekiel Elliott, and CeeDee Lamb. And we're not necessarily seeing that. So I guess my question is, do you think Kellen Moore's getting too cute by not constantly going to certain playmakers?
I got another thing to add on that because I don't know for sure. I don't think of him as being an offensive coordinator that gets too cute. I really don't. I think there's certain plays where he's trying different things and that, but I don't think of his whole an entire game plan as being too cute. But I also my thing with some of this that has to factor in is I believe when you have a franchise quarterback in his 7th season, he has the ability. He knows this offense. He's going to change things. He's going to do things that he likes. I mean, I don't know that you just all the blame goes to Kellen, all the blame goes to Dak. I think it's them together because I just feel like any great quarterback, whether it's the Peyton Mannings, the Aaron Rodgers, to Drew Brees and that, you always hear these stories about how they call plays and then the quarterback goes to the line and then does something that they want to do because they feel more comfortable with it. So
that's another wrinkle, because when I kind of asked Dak about that today, he said, it's when I go, has there been a conscious effort to try to get the ball more in Michael Gallup's hands? And the reason why I bring that up is you signed him to this big deal in the offseason.
Well, actions
right?
speak louder than words, and there's definitely not no effort.
Yeah,
I feel like Dak throws to the open guy.
But that's what he said. He said, I'm going to my open guy. And then when I go in the locker room and I ask about Michael Gallup, the claim is he's been open.
Yeah.
Now, again, I haven't looked closely enough at the tape. I'm going to go back and look at some of it, but I am just curious. So that's why I'm asking.
I mean,
I don't have a statement on it. I'm just curious.
I got two things, okay? I got two things. Number one, if you look at the analytics, Michael Gallup is not open. You look at the separation. Everybody breaks all that separation stuff. There's no separation on his route. I mean, he's way down the list. When you look at the Cowboys, somebody broke it down of the players who are open based on those routes. CD's way up here. Everybody else is way down here, way at the bottom of the league, and that's been clear. Number two, let's stop the drama on offense.
What do you mean?
The offense against the Jaguars was not the problem.
I just went in on the defense. They put up 34 points. I get that.
And they still but we're still focusing on the offense. And I mean, theoretically, they need. I would like to have more playmakers. I understand that.
Is Noah Brown your guy in that final play of the game? I think is if we're gonna drill down where I'm going with this. And I'm a fan of Noah Brown.
We all love Noah Brown, but that I know. I watched some of the state championship games last week. Number of receivers that at Duncanville and DeSoto could have made that catch. Okay,
but going back to
right
my
here.
question to you was Noah Brown the right guy to get the ball to?
Yes, because he was the guy that was open. Yes, that there should not be any question about the decision to throw the ball to Noah Brown when he's wide open and the ball hits him right here. We saw Noah Brown make a diving catch against Houston on a perfect sideline throw. We saw him come back and make a touchdown catch on the play earlier. This is right here. It's 3rd and 3. You don't have to do anything but catch the ball and fall. There should not be any question about that was the wrong guy to go to if he's on the field. Simi Fehoko, Dennis Houston, anybody should be able to make that catch. We're not asking you to stand on your head and make a freaking catch. It's right here.
And again, I'm not bashing Noah. I'm a fan of Noah's, but I'm just saying,
so
when you talk
Gallup
about winning, getting the ball in your playmaker's hands.
I understand that.
Who's your playmaker on offense?
It's CD. They've tried to get the ball to CD, and they've done a great job compared to last year with Amari Cooper. They have forced the ball to CD.
Right.
They would not let them get the ball to CD in the fourth quarter of this game.
Right, the fourth quarter
they would not let.
And that would have been even worse. You would have forced the ball to him, and then it gets intercepted, and then you're sitting there going, "Why would you throw it to him?"
So the question to me is, where was Schultz?
Yeah.
And they were doing max protect, and he got out late on that. He's a guy who I'm trying to get
favorite receivers.
So. Listen,
that's actually
I love
a good
Michael.
question. I don't know where he has been this year, given what you gave him with the franchise tag.
Well, he's been hurt too, and even though the franchise tag don't mean he's Travis Kelce though. But
he was big on that last series against the Texans.
He can make some plays, but he's not Kelce.
No. But I think he's had some plays this year where he's played pretty well.
But at the end of the day, they gave Michael Gallup that money, but Michael Gallup is not that player this year.
Right. And you spoke about that in training camp.
Man, I've been talking about this from blue in the face. I said in training camp, it's CD and the maybes. I've said this on the show. I've written it. It's been CD and the maybes. It's been maybes all season. We should not be surprised.
Give us credit,
There's your credit.
Give me your credit, James.
So what's crazy to me, though, is if you feel like, did you really think that all of your receivers are better than bringing in a veteran like T.Y. who said that he had, why not try something
They're trying Odell.
before the Eagles game?
They were trying to get Odell.
If the guy says he's physically ready to go, knows the playbook down pat.
Again, the receivers ultimately did not. The offense decision to sit T.Y. is not why they lost that game. The defense gave up 500 freaking yards.
I've already addressed.
I know, but we keep going by
team right now. But I'm saying you are going to if your defense is going to deal with this kind of injuries and you're going to give up 503 yards going forward, then you're going to need your offense to keep putting up more and more points.
Exactly, going forward. But I'm saying you were second guessing going into the Jacksonville game. I'm just saying that they did not know that defense was going to get 500 freaking yards to Jacksonville.
Agreed. Well, you didn't know that you weren't at all concerned about your secondary?
No, but you didn't know that you were going to lose Leighton Vander Esch and they were going to give up 192 yards on the ground. You know you're going to they weren't going to set your ass. They're going to 3 reverses just kill you. How do you not stop 3 reverses? I mean, that's unheard of. There was a lot of things that went on. You didn't know you weren't going to get to the quarterback. You know, they're going to pass the ball and you get 1 sack in the first half and nothing the rest of the way.
Same injury report as yesterday. Micah and Leighton Vander Esch are the only ones that didn't practice. Everybody else that was on the injury report are limited. DeMarcus Lawrence, Kearse, Ferguson, Brown, Armstrong. I expect all those guys to play. So I think everybody plays except for Leighton.
Is Kelvin Joseph back in there or are they moving on? And Deshaun Wright.
No.
You can't bring him back in there, man. How?
You shouldn't have brought him in the first place, but that's just me.
They wanted to give him the opportunity to fail, okay?
Why? No, they wanted to give themselves the opportunity to fail on their second round pick because they didn't want to let him go after when they should have cut him last year.
I'm not going to sit up here and say you're wrong.
What if the replacement is Bland as the other outside corner, and then they move one of these veterans into the slot?
I like that.
Look, I can't get worse. I mean, First off, I don't know what took the Jaguars so long to go find number one. They got dialed up in the second half. Like, what was you waiting on? I get to turn on the tape.
They just looked at the tablet and they're like, and this is where we're going.
Guys, how valuable is Trayvon Diggs right now? Because they're so thin at corner. If you were to lose him, I don't know what they would do.
Does he travel? Does he travel on Sunday with A.J. Brown? What do you do?
I think you do. I think you do make him travel just because it's tough because with Jalen Hurts at quarterback, 100%, I'm not even thinking twice about what you just said. I'm having him travel. But, with Gardner Minshew, they might play it a little bit differently. I don't know. I would have him travel, but they might not.
You're up 27-10. The goal is not to give up big plays.
Right.
How do you get beat on a double move? How are you
trying to make a play?
Don't give up big plays. Don't let somebody behind you. Why are you? You're up 27-10.
Yeah. Well, when I talked to some guys in the locker room about Kelvin's play specifically, it was eye discipline. They preach it over and over and over and over, and the eyes were not there. And a lot of that comes.
So if you've moved on from him, what do you do with him? Are you not even having him active? Or?
He's a special teams guy, and he helps you there. So
yeah. So then, if let's say they go with Deshaun Wright on the outside, are you then Calvin's the backup there, or is Calvin way down the line where you don't even want him on the field?
This is going to be the great thing about when they talked about practice. When Dan Quinn was talking to us, like, hey, it's open competition. And so I think those guys who.
What did you ask him again? I forgot. You asked him like point blank.
I just are you ready to name Kelvin Joseph the starter this week? Which was I was just gonna say because first he answered the question, maybe it was to Calvin about how we're gonna have open competition. So are you ready to declare him a starter this week or not? Which was I was just trying to kind of get I was trying to see where's your confidence level in this dude?
Right.
And they don't have any. And they shouldn't have any. Confidence requires 3 things. Time, proof, and consistency. And he has not shown you any of that as a corner that gets major time out there that he can help you. On special teams, he's shown you that you can be trusted there. He can help you there. I mean, you and I were out there when they lined up for the kickoff, and he's out there dancing, getting his sway on, and he's ready to go down there and cold cover kick. But you do not want this man in coverage.
Yeah. I think he bet on that move because Trevor Lawrence the whole game was having to get the ball out quick. He was going to go make a play, but to Clarence's point, you have to know the situation that you're in, and you can't. At that point, it's not about getting an interception. It's just don't give up any big plays.
Which is why we saw Quinn frustrated about it. You get it. Everybody else gets it. Number one forgot it. So I think they have to look at other options. And then the other thing he spoke about. Making moves looking towards the playoffs. Mm-hmm. They've clinched the playoff berth late Sunday night, so they know they're going to be there. Figuring out this corner combination here as they get ready to go into the playoffs. I think this is they've got 3 opportunities to try to figure that out. And
I just love that we're focused so much for so long on the wide receiver position. I think the corner position is literally going to be their Achilles heel.
Yeah.
The problem is there's nobody on the streets that you can really bring in at this point.
I think with both those positions, though, going into the season, we looked at it that way. Yep. I mean, you go back to that draft 2 years ago, and instead of drafting Micah, they wanted one of those corners up high, And so this has been those are both positions that they've been looking at. This didn't just come out of nowhere that these are going to be two potential weaknesses if you had injuries. I didn't think that there would get to a point where they lose both Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis for the rest of the season. That's what really made it tough because now you're replacing two starters.
Yeah, and even when Lewis went down, you were okay.
Yeah,
and that's with any team. If Slay goes down and another corner goes,
Bradbury,
they're not going to. It's everywhere.
Yeah,
it's everywhere, and this is the challenge, and why I do commend Mike McCarthy and the kind of job that they've done all year long. They've lost a lot of key players, and they've been able to keep it rolling. And in the second half, give Trevor Lawrence credit. He's had a great November. I don't think Cowboy fans, really knew that.
Yeah,
the guy had a great November. The week before, the guy was really good, and next thing you know, down 27-10, he got it cooking.
This is lining up just like in 2010 for him. Bunch of injuries in Green Bay. They had to be a wild card team. Had to win on the road. See, he's been here before, Newey. He knows how to navigate these waters. He'll be fine in the playoffs. He's been there before.
We've been here before too.
Do you think that there was not any sarcasm in that? I'm throwing some bait in the water here. I want to see if anyone's going to take it.
Let's take a break. Let's do that.
We've seen this movie before, too.
You don't think that I've been doing podcasts with this man all season? If you even mention Super Bowl, he loses his mind.
I think Mike McCarthy's done a really good job. We'll be back with more with Clarence Hill, John Machota, Jane Slater. I'm Newey Scruggs. This is Media Mash on DallasCowboys.com radio.
The season is finally here. For months, we've been gearing up to win. Now it's time for the team that performs on any field, United Ag and Turf. With John Deere zero turns for mowing, compact tractors for loading, mini excavators for digging, Gator utility vehicles for hauling, implements for grading, hay tools for baling. United Ag and Turf, for winning. The official Ag and Turf equipment supplier of the Dallas Cowboys. Visit UnitedAgAndTurf.com for more.
Todd thought it would be secure to jog in the cheetah savanna. Todd believed the big cat repellent he bought online was reliable. And now, Todd is trying to be faster than this cheetah that can run 80 miles per hour. But the good news is, Todd has AT&T 5G that is fast, reliable, and secure. And he learned the best thing to do is stop running and toss her the backpack with the beef stew. AT&T 5G. Fast, reliable, secure. It's not complicated.
5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
This sweet! Did you get to work on time?
Yeah, but I just realized it's Sunday.
Little Sweet says head on home. Dr. Pepper's on its way. So sweet, unique. Baby, there's nothing better. I bet you've probably done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper. Did you invest your nest egg in an NFT?
Yeah, and I don't even know what that is.
It's a non-fungible token. Everyone's done something that deserves a Dr. Pepper.
When you build, you start with the foundation. And home ownership is a foundation of a stable future. The Bank of America Community Homeownership Commitment has helped over 34,000 people lay the groundwork so far, with up to $10,000 towards your down payment or 3% of the purchase price, whichever is less. The satisfaction of owning your own place can become a reality. Visit bankofamerica.com/homeowner to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America NA, Equal Housing Lender. Credit and collateral is subject to approval. Restrictions apply. This is not a commitment to lend.
Back to Media Mash.
Media Mash with the cast of characters you know and love. John Machota from The Athletic. Clarence Hill, the 4-Star Telegram. Jane Slater, NFL Media. Newey Scruggs. All right.
NBC5.
Yeah, NBC5. I'm really trying to figure out, what do you do now at right tackle since Tyron went out there, played well, played longer than they thought. So is this the week you just say, man, go out there and go do your thing? What do they do at the right tackle spot? And it looked like Peters had a couple moments where you're like, ugh,
He's clearly the guy. As long as Tyron Smith's healthy, you're fine at right tackle.
Okay.
But with that being said, it would not surprise me if you still see a series here or there where Jason Peters gets in. But I don't think there's any doubt. Like, yeah, there was some rust that Tyron Smith had at Jacksonville. But I mean, if he can stay healthy, I don't think their offensive line's an issue at all. I think Tyron Smith will be just fine at right tackle, but he's got to stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, you roll Tyron out there and let him go. Now,
You think he plays every snap at right tackle?
I don't know. I think that you want to give Peter some snaps just because he needs to stay warm and go because you're going to need him. You're possibly going to need him. And so it's about the short term and the long term. But the ugly truth is that this offensive line has not been great this year. They've run the ball well. The pass block win percentage, or whatever you call that, is at the bottom of the league. That's the ugly truth that no one's really talking about.
And when you're looking at so many players getting their hands on these balls, like tipped balls, and they're like getting it on his shoulder,
he don't have a lot of
whatever,
sacks. He's making things happen.
That's why everyone's like crushing him for the interceptions. But when he tells you there's a story to each one, he's not lying.
Yeah.
Like even he's what I appreciate about him is you know this, when he's not in front of the camera, she sort of talked to him. He's like, look, I'll sit up here and say it's my fault. It is whatever. But when he literally looks at the camera and you go back and you look at some of these interceptions, there is a story. Of course, some of them are on him, but 11 of those aren't all on Dak.
No, they're not. But again, so just getting back to offensive line, yes.
But that's where I'm going back to.
Yeah, they're going to have to roll with Tyron, but this is it's not as good as the Eagles line. The Eagles have their line is great.
Correct.
And it's not one of the top lines in the league, but it's better than we expected. We didn't really know what to expect from Tyler Smith, and he's giving you better than what you expected. But he's not a Pro Bowler out there. It's not like you're getting Pro Bowl level play from Tyler Smith.
I think going into the season, there were still question marks about your center. How good was he? I think after the season, it's another question you got to have. Your left guard's position is going to be open. He's going to be a free agent. Now you got your right tackle position. So, look, I would say the past couple seasons, the offensive line has been an issue. You were worried how many games would Tyron Smith play. So,
and the problem is, and when you talk to a lot of people, Nui, is finding offensive linemen out in free agency isn't always that easy. So you really have to find these guys through the draft.
Yeah.
And that's why, as much as the Tyron Smith injury was tough on this team, it allowed you to get your rookie going in Tyler Smith, that at least you got him some meaning. If there's a silver lining in it, you got him some meaningful playing time that you feel comfortable with that there. And particularly having Tyron's career moving forward, if he's still here, which I tend to think he would be, where he's more of like a Jason Peters type guy. You see him rotating in at positions.
So you're to me, they've been great taking linemen in the first round. It's the other rounds, where you take a Connor McGovern, and you thought he'd play.
Josh Ball
in the fourth round, he struggled. He didn't play last year at all. Connor Williams, who they clearly missed on from the standpoint that this guy could play center. I mean, if you have Connor Williams playing center right now, you maybe have a better football team.
How's he doing in Miami?
He's doing pretty good.
Exactly.
Really good.
So that.
All right, first round of the draft next year. You have to take only one of these two positions. You're going to fill one of them. It's going to be a good starter. I can tell you what that is. But you got to pick either between a corner or an offensive lineman.
See, I'd go D-line.
Oh, you go D-line.
But still, listen.
Okay.
Yeah. And
I think you've got to go corner. If the free agent market for corners isn't that good, and you're looking at Anthony Brown, even this is the final year of his contract.
It depends on what's different.
But Anthony is getting older. You've got Jordan Lewis, who, I saw his nasty little foot injury today. Right. And, the good news is he says he's walking on it and feeling better. But I just think you need depth at that position, especially if you continue to play the Eagles moving forward with what they've got.
We're talking first round, and at some point, I need a horse inside on the defensive line.
With horses on the defensive line on the inside, even in the first round, those are like top 10 picks. They're not going to have a top 10. That's the only problem with that. But I agree with you. If they could find one.
I need a horse. To me, you cannot be a great defense without a great defensive line. The Cowboys, they were getting sacks and they have not had a great defensive line, and it's starting to take its toll on this team and stopping the run and everything else. You cannot be a great defense. I don't know any great defense that was not founded with a great defensive line.
And so when you talk about, all right, that those guys are premium picks, then you know what? There's one issue we've seen lately is the second round pick. Take that 2 and move on up. Do something. Do something. But if you've got a guy, they almost took the guy from Georgia that the Eagles took.
Right.
They contemplated. Hey, man, give up a pick and go solidify the slot. Okay, just do it. That spot up there has been an issue. So go get some beef. So
that's saying a real game wrecker in the middle.
We'll make it different for the team.
It would, but it's as hard to find as any position. It's right there with that quarterback. How few are there?
But what if the Cowboys had a badass defensive tackle?
Jay Ratliff. I don't know. It's been a while.
Seriously. You cannot be a great defense without a bad guy in the middle. And they've had good players and nice players, but no badass defensive tackle. You need that.
Warren Sapp. Well, the great lines. The back don't work without the front. And I believe in that all day long. You look at people talk about the 5 Cowboys Super Bowl winners. Those teams played defense, and the defensive line was good.
Great.
Okay. The defensive line made the difference. We're sitting around here, and we got NFL Network on because the great Franco Harris passed away. And that whole Steeler team was based off Joe Green.
Right, and
that whole Tampa 2 defense, all that is based on Joe Green. Tony Dungy played with Joe Green. That whole Tampa defense with Monty Kevin, that's based on him. When they were up there in Minnesota, Dungy had John Randall. That's what you do. They don't have that kind of guy. They need to get that kind of player because it can make everyone else's life a whole lot better. So the corner stuff. Can I survive with a guy decently if I've got people putting pressure up there? As great as Deion Sanders was, you can only cover for so. The great ones can only cover for so long. So figure out how to, and you can't stop the run either. Figure out how to get somebody up front in the draft. That's what I would do.
Yeah, and you got a number 1 corner. Few teams have 2 first-round picks at cornerback. That's just an embarrassment of riches. You got to find a way to make it work. But there are guys who you can do that with. But again. You still have the second and third round, but I need to focus on that defense line. But just getting back to the offensive line, you were talking about next year, and we always get ahead of ourselves. But why can't Tyron be the left tackle next year and Tyler Smith kick inside the guard with Terrence Steele at right tackle?
When's Terrence Steele come back?
Yeah, he's ACL. Well, Tyron may have to start at right tackle next year. I forget about that.
So
start the season at right tackle next year.
And unless you trust in Josh Ball,
and I think
let's go.
And
no.
I think as Tyron gets older and the injuries have really begun piling up in recent years, I think it's better just to solidify him there at that position.
Yeah.
You never want to see anybody get hurt, but there were question marks about are you going to bring Tyron back next year? Terrence Steele hurt. And what we saw of Tyron against Jacksonville, I think you could go ahead and put it down there. All right, Smith is going to be back because they try to look at what kind of payroll they may need to limit around here. So,
I definitely think he's back,
and he's definitely going to come in as a team-friendly deal,
1,000%.
like he did the first time.
Hey, man, it is what it is. Philadelphia, Saturday night
looking across
at
the
AT&T Stadium. The Longhorn love, all good. I'm happy your boy Arch Manning decided to go ahead and make it official today.
Why would he not make it official? He never wavered. It was never a question.
You follow National Signing Day?
Yeah, today's National Signing Day, my man.
What was the tweet that went out this morning that some quarterback was going to
flip? Do you follow it? Because there's always, every National Signing Day, at least one kid.
And they did. There was a tweet I saw this morning that one quarterback was going to flip.
He flipped from Baylor to Oregon.
Right.
Kid from Austin.
But I found myself going,
the top 5 quarterback flipped from Baylor to Oregon.
I found myself going, that Alamo Bowl just cost him Arch Manning.
No, Arch has never been wavered, but it's a kid from Austin who flipped from Baylor to Oregon.
Chris Sims should have wavered.
I know a kid that never wavered too, and then he all of a sudden ended up at Jackson State, okay?
All right. When is your Alamo Bowl?
I don't know. I don't care.
He knows.
What bowl is Pembroke State playing in? I need to know.
We didn't make the playoffs this year.
I'll be watching TCU though.
We fired our coach. Got a new coach. I was over at TCU today. So it was a signing day today. So they're in the college football playoff.
He covers this local community better than anyone else.
I just do what I can. Clarence Hill, John Machota, Jane Slater. I'm Newey Scruggs. This has been the Media Mash. Up next, I'm actually a student. Jerk. Jerk.
You are
That's
a jerk
fan.
Sometimes.
Jane Slater shows up next.
You got clients
right here on Dallas
Go
Cowboys.
Get to that date of yours, J. Crew Boy.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!